Hello, I'm Simon Lee, the Marketing Manager, and I'm going to introduce DC package solutions of LS Electric at the Virtual Day 2021. Before we begin, I would like to inform you about the quiz event. After the seminar, a pop-up quiz will appear on the right side of the screen regarding the contents of today's seminar. We prepare a field prize for those who get answers for quiz by lot, so please participate a lot. Then I will start the presentation. These are contents for today's webinar. First solution I would like to share is 1500 DC volts switch disconnector and ACB. I would like to recap recent market trends in aspects of solution provider. In terms of DC side for each application, the market needs are already changed from 1000 DC volts to 1500 DC volts. Also, as there are many huge projects carried out in the United States and Latin America area, UL-listed device is essential one to make the power conversion system reliable. In case of ESS market, despite we have bigger battery capacity thanks to the efforts from global battery manufacturers, but we have new assignments for avoiding any risk of fire. In terms of wind power converter, there is increasing demand for higher voltage circuit breaker, even up to 1150 volts as the capacity keep increasing. Our SUSOL DC switch disconnector and AC breakers play an important role on protection and switching in the systems of solar inverter, battery converter, and wind power converter as shown in the diagram. Let me introduce our complete package for AC and DC protection and switching. Since many years ago, LS Electric have been reinforced R&D for catching up newly updated market trend. Today, we're going to introduce our major updates in AC breaker and DC switch. Among various types of DC switches, those two types are the most common one, compact type and E-frame DC switch. Compact type is only up to 1600 ampere frame, when E-frame is up to 4000 amps, and both are UL and IC certified. Next, this product is D-frame 1500 DC volts, 2000 amp switch. Overall specifications and mechanical characteristics are almost same as other frames. So our D-frame switch would be competitive option when medium-sized switch is requested. Please kindly refer to the general specifications of our new D-frame DC switch. Now, please pay attention to our UL-listed compact switch called as UDA Compact DC Switch. I'm so glad to announce to you that we launched this competitive product this year. We are proud of achieving multiple UL homologation at the same time, UL 489B for PV and UL 489F for battery system, which enables multi-application. We have planned to expand this series with vertical connection type up to 1600 amps. Let's move on to the introduction for a new AV type AC breaker. The most important point is that we have added 800, 900, 1000 and 1150 volts for multiple application. As you might know, many PV projects are carried out at alpine zone more than 3000 meters above sea level nowadays. Our AV type ACB offers various range of rated voltage, so you could consider 800 and 900 volts for PV application in high altitude, 1000 and 1150 volts products for high voltage ride through feature of wind turbine. Here I would like to show you the braking capacity according to the voltage range. Based on two different frames, our AV series will offer various braking capacity. The last point in the ACB session is the temperature condition, which is really important to operate power system. Referring to the table, despite harsh condition with higher temperature, our AV air circuit breaker could give you a guideline to excite proper currents on the electrical system. Now, I would like to move on to 1500 DC volts molded case circuit breaker. There is a demand of decentralized configuration of energy system for high level of redundancy and plant availability. And finally, it will naturally lead to the demands of high voltage up to 1500 DC volts. At this moment, we successfully have full lineup of 1500 DC volts and 800 AC volts for MCCB, commonly used in PV and ESS application. The diagram on the left side shows general decentralized PV power plants composed with a few medium capacity of solar cells. A few steps ahead of solar inverter, there are primary and secondary protection units such as junction box and combiner box. Generally, low-capacity DC MCCB or DC molded case switch, which we have now, are used in this application. Another example is energy storage system. In this system, normally battery cell or modules are protected by BPU and BCP. In BCP application of a smaller capacity, DC MCS or MCCB cells are commonly used with fuse. Here I would like to show you IC DC MCCB and MCS types. Especially our 250 amps, 1500 DC volts breaker with compact size would be appropriate solution for PV power plant with the capacity below 500 kilowatts. Aside from previous UL breakers compatible both with AC and DC, our new DC breaker up to 1500 DC volts mentioned earlier are launched this year. In this slide, I would like to emphasize those main features of our 1500 DC volts UL MCCB. It is world first UL certified DC MCCB up to 600 amps at 1500 DC volts. And high short circuit breaking is guaranteed, which is 65 kΩ for UL and 50 kΩ for IC. Acquisition of both UL489B and UL489F is also a main feature I would like to emphasize. Please kindly refer to those internal and external accessories for both UL and IC type DC breaker for your reference. Last but not least, I would like to briefly share our development plan for upcoming product. It is AC 1000 volts MCCB up to 600 amps, which is an exact solution for photovoltaic and ESS application in terms of high output voltage. Let us move to our third solution, which is 1500 DC volts contactor. Even from BMS of electric vehicles to BPU of energy storage system, our DC contactor has been used in various industrial applications. The table here shows current lineup of DC contactor available now and additional model we are developing for near future. In terms of energy storage system application, this contactor is commonly used in primary protection stage, which is called BPU, battery protection unit. Since it is crucial DC components together with fuse for protecting one battery rack, the capability of high ampere making, breaking, and arc extinction would be highly required. Also, our DC contactors are widely installed in DC EV chargers. As the capacity of EV charger increased upon request for less time for charging, we believe that there must be demands for high capacity of DC contactor in near future. On demands of designing the contactor for high capacity, there are four major design features deal with: arc quenching, short circuit capability, solenoid actuator designing, and noise reduction. Based on these considerations, we are able to mass produce our DC contactor lineup with technical confidence. Please kindly refer to the lineup of our DC contactor from 450 volts to 1000 volts, which are certified by CE, CCC, CB, and even UL. GPR M400A and H500A are the most common DC contactors widely used in industrial application at this moment. Each contactor is for 1000 volts and 1500 volt system, including auxiliary contact, which is used for main contact status detection. I would like to end up with our new product released. These are H600 and H750 for 1500 volt system with higher ampere rating. These will be the solutions for battery manufacturer who request higher capacity of ESS. Also, we have DC lineup for MCB and SPD, which are normally applied with those DC products we deal with in early slides. This is the end of today's webinar in terms of our DC package solutions. Hope you enjoyed one. Next, we will have a quiz session related to this seminar. Look at the pop-up quiz on the right side of the screen and guess the answer. Thank you for watching.